All right, we're gonna watch Mighty Mouse's Who Wins at UFC 321, Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have UFC 321 final predictions. We got Cyril Gahn taking on, finally, Tom Aspinall defend the heavyweight belt. About time. And then Dern taking on Berna. Volkov taking on Jailton Almeida. And the return of Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mar Batista. Boys, I am pumped. We're getting two bangers back to back in the month of October. The first fight I want to start with is Volkov taking on Jailton Almeida. Now, Volkov is coming off a controversial loss to Cyril Gahn, and he's taking on a very heavy hitter, Jailton Almeida, who has a very, very good submission background, and he's also got some knockouts in the UFC. Jailton Almeida's only loss in the UFC is to Curtis Blades. So he suffered the loss, but other than that, he's been a clean streak winning besides to Curtis Blades. Let's talk about Volkov. You look at Volkov's last fight against Cyril Gahn. He did get robbed. I'm not gonna say a lot of people thought he got robbed. No, the man, Volkov did a good job. Volkov did. Volkov.
Prize picks. All right. So for this one,
I want to see.
I got Volkov, but I do want to see this fight. Volkov versus Almeida. See. He's showing him the keys to victory, the game plan to victory. Hunt for the neck. Submit him. Okay. Omar versus Bautista. Let's see.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
This is exciting.
The Running Man, only theaters November 14th.
Good call. I'd love to pay.
Mario Bautista taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, I'm excited for this fight because this could potentially be the next contender for the winner of Merab taking on Peter Yan. Now, Umar Nurmagomedov last time we saw him is when he fought the Machine, Merab. And we all know what happens when the Machine gets in the octagon with that athlete. He tends to run him over, eats him up for dinner, and just outworks him. And that's essentially what he did to Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, he's taking on Mar Bautista, which a lot of people did not put respect on this man's name, right? I was one of them. But he's beaten the likes of Patchy Mix, even though Patchy Mix, you know, he's had a little rough start in the UFC. Mar Batista has proven to be somebody that you cannot just look past, right? I put respect on Mar Batista's name, okay? This man is on an 8-fight win streak, taking out guys like Patchy Mix and Jose Aldo. But let's look at the keys of victory between Umar Nurmagomedov and Mar Bautista. I'm gonna start with Umar Nurmagomedov because I'm excited to see him back in action and work his way back to the title. Key to victory number one, use your grappling ability. When you fought Corey Sandhagen, you saw him out-grapple Corey Sandhagen and stifle Corey's game because Corey's very tricky to figure out on the feet. Definitely look to see Umar Nurmagomedov use that grappling ability against Mar Batista. Put Mar Batista on his back, pass his guard, wait till him to turtle, take his back. You know, Umar Nurmagomedov is long and he has great grappling ability. He's gonna look at that body triangle and look for a rear naked choke. Key to victory number two is always going to be keeping Mar Batista one step behind. What do I mean by that? You kind of put an illusion in your opponent like, hey, we're going to do stand-up. Once Mar Batista starts engaging in a stand-up, you change the scenery, meaning we're going to clinch. Once Mar Batista starts engaging in clinching, you change to the wrestling. Once he starts engaging in the wrestling, you always change the art form that you're using to fight him in, right? That's one thing that I like to do is when I used to fight is when I'm boxing, bah, 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 and they start boxing. Nope, I'm gonna wrestle now. They start wrestling back. They start going a wizard. You don't wrestle a wrestler. Once they start to wrestle you, you come up and you start clinching them. You're always changing the puzzle of the fight, and I think Umar Nurmagomedov can do that against Mar Batista just because the background that he has. Now let's look at Mar Batista. Key to victory number 1 with this: do not respect Umar Nurmagomedov. What I mean by that, people get kind of aura shy, right? They're like, oh man, this is a Nurmagomedov. He trains with Khabib. They kind of get googly eyes. You see a lot of guys do that when it comes to Anderson Silva back in the day, or when people would fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, they'll kind of like, oh, he's supposed to take me now, so I'm just gonna accept that position. They have too much respect for the name. So, key to victory number 1: do not respect. Go forward, march forward. You know, a lot of people have been doubting him, and this main card, they're if so, Patrick King, Umar to if.
Yeah, he is right. Some people just respect the game, but you gotta just want it more. If you want to win the fight, you have to want it more. And if you don't want it more, you're going to lose. So you don't want to put yourself in those type of positions where you're being dominated. Mackenzie Dern. This is John DeRoba. This one's going to be a good fight. I mean, women's combat sports and women's sports in general is good.
Tom Aspinall taking on Ciryl Gane. About fucking time Tom Aspinall is back in the UFC to keep the heavyweight division going. That's the most thing I'm excited about, right? When you look at Tom Aspinall, what he's been able to do inside the UFC in the heavyweight division is he has the shortest fight time in the whole entire company, meaning that he blasts through everybody each time he fights, whether it's submission game or if he's knocking them out. And that's one thing people don't talk about when it comes to Tom Aspinall. This man can knock you out, and he can also submit you. He submitted Volkov with a Kimura from half guard. He's also knocked out Curtis Blades. Now, the only blemish he has on his record is when he had that nasty knee injury from Curtis Blades the first time they met. But other than that, he's been clean his whole entire UFC career and finished everybody. He's never gotten a decision. His fight against Andre Arlovski, the combinations, him picking his shots, Andre turns his back, he submits Andre with a rear naked choke. He can truly fight anywhere. The only time Tom Aspinall gets in trouble is when somebody tries to hit him. He brings his head back and he brings himself outside of his shell. Now, when we look at Ciryl Gane, the one thing Ciryl Gane has going for him is that he is a big athletic and he moves very well on the feet, but not as well as Tom Aspinall. Ciryl Gane does have great kicks. He does have a good right hand. He's very dynamic with his kicks and his push kicks. And in Ciryl Gane's camp, getting ready for Tom Aspinall, he's been wrestling with the Olympic gold medalist in wrestling to make sure his wrestling is sharp.
Just go in there and fight. That's what I do. Just go in there, fight, win, take the dub, take the belt, take all the belts.